The rope burned against Clara Bennett's neck. She could smell the hemp, feel the splinters digging into her skin. Below her, the crowd roared, some for justice, most for blood. The executioner's hand hovered over the lever. Sheriff Dalton read her sentence with all the emotion of a man ordering breakfast. Clara Bennett, for the murder of your husband, Thomas Bennett, you are hereby sentenced to hang by the neck until dead. She didn't kill him, but nobody cared. The executioner gripped the lever. Clara's heart hammered so hard she thought it would burst before the rope did its work. She closed her eyes, thought of her mother, thought of the life she'd never live. The lever dropped. She fell. Stop! The trapdoor caught, stuck. Clara dangled, toes scraping wood, the noose tightening but not snapping. Gasps rippled through the crowd. A horse thundered into the square. Dust exploded around hooves as a man dismounted in one fluid motion, tall, broad-shouldered. A black hat shadowed his face, but Clara saw his jaw, sharp as a knife blade. I invoke the bride's mercy law, he announced, voice cutting through the chaos. Sheriff Dalton's face went purple. What? You heard me. The stranger strode forward, spurs clinking. I claim this woman as my bride. The law says any unmarried man can spare a condemned woman by marriage. I'm unmarried. I'm claiming her. The crowd erupted. The executioner looked at the sheriff. The sheriff looked at the mayor. The mayor, a weasel of a man named Hutchins, pushed through the mob. That law hasn't been used in 20 years. Still on the books. The cowboy pulled a worn legal document from his coat. Territorial Law, Section 47. Want me to read it aloud, or you want to cut her down before she suffocates? Clara's vision blurred. The rope was crushing her windpipe. Black spots danced. Cut her down, Dalton barked. Hands fumbled with the noose. Clara collapsed onto the platform, gasping, clawing at the rope. The cowboy climbed the steps, knelt beside her, and loosened the hemp with practiced fingers. Breathe, he said quietly. Slow. She sucked in air. It felt like swallowing glass. Who the hell are you? Dalton demanded. Name's Cole Garrett. He helped Clara sit up. His eyes were gray, storm cloud gray. And she's my wife now. That's the law. This is insane. You want to argue law with me, Sheriff? Cole's hand drifted to his hip. Not threatening. Just present. Or you want to explain to the territorial judge why you hanged a woman after a legal marriage claim? Dalton's mustache twitched. He looked at Hutchins. Hutchins looked at the crowd. The crowd was divided. Half outraged, half fascinated. Fine, Dalton spat. But she leaves town, today, and if she sets foot in Redemption again, I'll hang her for trespassing. Cole stood, pulling Clara up with him. Her legs shook. Won't be a problem. He led her down the gallows steps. The crowd parted like water. Some spat. Others stared. A woman Clara had once called friend turned her back. Cole's horse waited, a massive black stallion. He lifted Clara into the saddle like she weighed nothing, then swung up behind her. Hold on, he murmured. They rode. The town disappeared behind them. Dust, sagebrush, endless sky. Clara couldn't speak. Her throat was raw, her mind spinning. Who was this man? Why had he saved her? After an hour, Cole stopped at a creek, dismounted, helped her down. She stumbled, and he caught her elbow. Drink, he said, nodding to the water. Clara knelt, scooped handfuls into her mouth. Cold, clean. Heaven. When she finally looked up, he was watching her, not leering, just assessing. Why? She croaked. Why what? Why did you save me? He crouched, filled his canteen. Needed a wife. She almost laughed. Would have if her throat didn't feel like she'd swallowed nails. You could have courted someone, placed an ad, not married a condemned murderer. You kill your husband? No. Then you're not a murderer. He stood. And I don't have time for courting. Time for what? His jaw tightened. Getting to my ranch before dark. We've got a long ride. He offered his hand. Clara stared at it. Calloused, scarred. The hand of a man who'd worked, fought, survived. She took it. They rode until sunset painted the sky blood red. Clara's body ached. The rope burn throbbed. But she didn't complain. Complaining was for people with choices. Cole's ranch appeared as twilight fell, a sturdy cabin, a barn, corrals, modest but well kept. Smoke curled from the chimney. "Someone's here," Clara whispered. "My foreman, Hank." Cole dismounted, helped her down. "He knows about you." "Knows what? That you married a stranger to save her from hanging?" "Something like that." The cabin door opened. A grizzled man stepped out, 60, maybe older, with a limp and kind eyes. "Cole?" He nodded, then looked at Clara. "Ma'am, Hank, this is Clara, my wife." Hank didn't blink. "Pleased to meet you, ma'am. Supper's ready." Inside, the cabin was warm. Simple furniture, a fire crackling, a table set for 2, now 3. They ate in silence. Stew, bread. Clara hadn't realized how hungry she was until she tasted food. Real food. Not the slop they'd given her in that cell. After, Hank excused himself to the barn. Cole poured coffee. "You can have the bed," he said. "I'll take the floor." Clara blinked. "We're married. In name." He met her eyes. "I'm not that kind of man, Clara. You're safe here." Something in her chest loosened. Just a fraction. "Why did you really save me?" He was quiet for a long moment. Then, "I need your help." "With what?" "Finding a killer." Her blood chilled. "I didn't. Not you." He leaned forward. "The man who actually killed your husband. I need to find him." "Why?" "Because he's my brother." If you're enjoying this story so far, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe, because what happens next will blow your mind. The words hung in the air like smoke. "Your brother," Clara repeated. Cole nodded. "Ethan Garrett, 3 years older than me. We grew up on a ranch in Colorado. Our parents died when I was 16. Ethan changed after that. Got involved with bad people, gambling, theft, worse. Murder?" I didn't want to believe it, but 5 months ago, a man was killed in Denver. Stabbed. The description matched Ethan, then another in Cheyenne, then your husband in Redemption. Clara's hands trembled. "How do you know it was him?" Cole pulled something from his pocket. A knife, bone handle, curved blade. "This was found near your husband's body. Recognize it?" She shook her head. "It's Ethan's. Our father made it for him. I'd know it anywhere." "Then why didn't you tell the sheriff?" "Because Ethan's my brother." Pain flickered across his face. "I need to find him, bring him in myself, but I needed a reason to be in Redemption asking questions. A wife gives me that reason, makes me look settled, trustworthy. So I'm bait?" "No." His voice hardened. "You're my partner. You knew your husband, knew his associates. You can help me track Ethan. And if I refuse, then you're still my wife, still safe. But Ethan keeps killing, and you live knowing you could have stopped him." Clara wanted to hate him, wanted to scream that he'd used her. But he'd also saved her life. And if his brother really killed Thomas, what do you need me to do? The next morning, Cole laid out his plan. Ethan had a pattern. He targeted men involved in illegal gambling rings. Thomas had been one of them. Cole believed Ethan was working his way through a list. "There's a man in Silver Creek," Cole said, spreading a map on the table. "Name's Victor Kane, runs a gambling house. If Ethan's following his pattern, Kane's next. So we warn him. We watch him, wait for Ethan to make his move. And then I stop my brother before he kills again." They left that afternoon. Hank stayed to mind the ranch. The ride to Silver Creek took 2 days. Cole was quiet, but not cold. He taught Clara to shoot. A small revolver he'd brought. "You need to protect yourself," he said, as she missed the target for the 10th time. "I've never shot a gun." "You have now." He adjusted her grip. "Breathe, squeeze, don't pull." She fired. The can exploded. "Better," he said, almost smiling. That night, they camped under stars so bright they hurt. Clara lay in her bedroll, listening to the fire crackle. Cole. Yeah? Why do you think Ethan's doing this? Silence. Then, revenge, maybe. Our father lost everything to a gambling ring before he died. Maybe Ethan blames them. Blames men like them. That doesn't make it right. No, it doesn't. Silver Creek was bigger than redemption. Busier. They checked into a hotel as Mr. and Mrs. Garrett. The clerk didn't blink. Kane's gambling house was easy to find. A 2-story building with red curtains and piano music spilling into the street. We go in together, Cole said. You're my wife. We're looking for a game. Inside, smoke and laughter filled the air. Men crowded around tables. Women in bright dresses served drinks. And at the back, holding court at a poker table, sat Victor Kane. 50s, slicked hair, diamond rings. Cole approached. Heard you run a fair game. Kane looked up, smiled. Fairest in Silver Creek. You playing? Depends. You got room? Always room for new money. Kane gestured to a chair. Cole sat. Clara stood behind him, playing the dutiful wife. But she watched. Watched Kane, watched the room. And then she saw him. A man at the bar, tall, dark hair, same sharp jaw as Cole. Ethan. Clara's heart stopped. She touched Cole's shoulder. He glanced up. She tilted her head toward the bar. Cole's face went stone. Ethan turned, saw them. For a moment, brothers locked eyes. Then Ethan bolted. Cole lunged after him. Clara followed, shoving through the crowd. Ethan burst out the back door into an alley. Cole was faster, tackled him into the dirt. They rolled, fists flying. Clara pulled her revolver, hands shaking. Stop, she screamed. They didn't. Ethan landed a punch that split Cole's lip. Cole drove his knee into Ethan's ribs. They grappled, and then Ethan's hand flashed. The bone-handled knife. He slashed. Cole jerked back, but the blade caught his shoulder. Blood bloomed. Clara fired. The shot went wide, but it was enough. Ethan froze. Looked at her. You, he breathed. You're the woman from Redemption. Drop the knife, Clara said, aiming at his chest. You were supposed to hang. Plans change. Cole staggered up, clutching his shoulder. It's over, Ethan. Over? Ethan laughed, bitter, broken. It'll never be over, not until they all pay. Pay for what? Cole demanded. For killing him. Ethan's voice cracked. Dad didn't just lose money, Cole. They murdered him. Made it look like an accident. I found proof, letters, contracts. Kane was part of it. So was Bennett. So were a dozen others. Cole went pale. Dad died in a riding accident. That's what they wanted you to think. Ethan's eyes glistened. I've spent 3 years hunting them, making them pay. By becoming a murderer? By getting justice. This isn't justice, Clara said quietly. This is revenge, and it won't bring him back. Ethan looked at her. Really looked. You didn't kill Bennett? No, I did. He lowered the knife. He begged, said he had a wife. I didn't care. I wanted him to suffer like Dad suffered. And now I suffered, Clara said. I almost died for your revenge. Something flickered in his eyes. Regret? Shame? I'm sorry, he whispered. Then he ran. Cole lunged, but his shoulder gave out. Ethan disappeared into the night. They returned to the hotel. Clara bandaged Cole's shoulder while he sat silent, jaw clenched. We'll find him, she said. He's my brother. I should have known, should have seen. You couldn't have known. I should have. He looked at her. I'm sorry for dragging you into this. You saved my life and put it in danger again. I chose to come. She tied off the bandage. And I choose to finish this. They tracked Ethan for 3 weeks. He was smart, covered his tracks, moved at night. But Cole knew him, knew how he thought. Trail after trail led them through dusty towns and desolate plains. They questioned bartenders, stable hands, anyone who might have seen a man matching Ethan's description. Most had nothing. Some lied. A few pointed them in the right direction. Clara learned more about Cole during those weeks. He was patient, methodical. But underneath, She saw the pain, the weight of hunting his own blood. One night, camped near a dried riverbed, Cole finally opened up. "Ethan used to protect me," he said, staring into the fire. "When we were kids, other boys would pick fights, and Ethan would step in. Every time, he took beatings meant for me. He loved you. He did. That's what makes this so hard." Cole's voice cracked. "The man I'm chasing isn't the brother I knew. That man died with our father." Clara moved closer. "Maybe he's still in there. Maybe we can reach him. Or maybe I'll have to kill him." The words hung heavy between them. What would you do if you had to choose between family and justice? Drop your thoughts in the comments. They found Ethan in a town called Bitter Springs. He was watching another gambling house from across the street. Another target. This time, they were ready. Cole approached from the front. Clara circled to the back. When Ethan emerged from the shadows, Clara was waiting. "Don't run," she said, gun raised. He stopped, looked at her. "You going to shoot me?" "If I have to. I don't want to hurt you, Clara." "Then surrender." "I can't, not until it's done." "It'll never be done," she said. "There'll always be another name, another target. When does it end?" "When they're all dead." "And then what? You'll be dead too. Hanged or shot. Is that what your father would want?" His face crumpled. "I don't know what he'd want. I just know I can't stop." Cole appeared behind him. "Yes, you can." Ethan spun, saw his brother. The knife was in his hand, but he didn't raise it. "I'm tired, Cole," he whispered. "So tired." "I know." Cole stepped closer. "Let me help you. I killed people. I know. I can't take it back. No, but you can stop." For a long moment, Ethan just stood there. The knife trembled in his grip. Then, slowly, his fingers opened. The knife fell. Ethan collapsed to his knees, and Cole caught him. Brothers, broken, but together. Clara lowered her gun and let out a breath she didn't know she'd been holding. They brought Ethan to the territorial marshal in the nearest city. Cole testified about the murders, but also about their father. An investigation was opened into the gambling syndicate. Evidence was found, proof that a group of men, including Victor Kane and Thomas Bennett, had orchestrated the elder Garrett's death to cover their debts. The revelation sent shockwaves through 3 territories. Arrests were made. The syndicate crumbled. Ethan was sentenced to 20 years in prison, not hanging. The judge took into account the circumstances, the murder of his father, the conspiracy, the years of grief that had twisted him. It wasn't justice, not really, but it was mercy. Cole visited Ethan every month without fail. Clara went with him sometimes. Ethan always asked about the ranch, about the horses, about the life he'd never have. And slowly, over those visits, Clara saw glimpses of the brother Cole had described. The protector, the man who'd once taken beatings for a younger sibling. Maybe that man wasn't completely gone after all. As for Clara, she stayed at the ranch. It became home in a way redemption never had. Hank taught her to cook, real cooking, not the simple meals she'd scraped together in her old life. She learned to ride, to mend fences, to read the weather in the clouds. Cole taught her to shoot properly. By the end of summer, she could hit a target at 50 yards. But more than that, she learned to trust again, to laugh, to believe that maybe, just maybe, she deserved a second chance. One evening, 6 months after Ethan's trial, Clara and Cole sat on the porch watching the sunset. The sky was painted in shades of orange and pink, and the air smelled of sage and earth. "You know," Cole said, breaking the comfortable silence, "we're still married." Clara smiled. "I know. We could. Make it real, if you wanted." She looked at him. This man who'd saved her life, who'd trusted her when no one else would, who'd shown her that even the most broken things could be mended. "I'd like that," she said. Cole's face softened, a rare, genuine smile. "Me too." He leaned in and kissed her as the sun dipped below the horizon. It was gentle, tentative, a promise of something new. For the first time since that rope had touched her neck, Clara felt truly free. The months turned into years. The ranch prospered. Clara and Cole built a life together, a real life, not just a legal arrangement. They had hard days. Days when Cole came back from visiting Ethan with shadows in his eyes. Days when Clara woke from nightmares of the gallows, gasping for air. But they had good days, too. Days of laughter and hard work and quiet evenings by the fire. Hank became like family. He taught Clara to play cards and told stories about Cole as a young man. Stories that made Cole groan and Clara laugh until her sides hurt. 3 years after that day in redemption, Clara stood in the same spot on the porch, watching the sunset. But this time, her hand rested on her swollen belly. Cole came up behind her, wrapped his arms around her waist. "Thinking about something?" he asked. "Just how different life is now." "Better?" She turned in his arms. "So much better. Even though you got stuck with me. Especially because I got stuck with you." He kissed her forehead. "I love you, Clara Garrett." "I love you too." Their daughter was born that winter. A healthy, squalling baby with Cole's gray eyes and Clara's dark hair. They named her Hope, because that's what she was. Hope for a future Clara had thought she'd never have. Hope for a family built not on blood, but on choice. Years later, when Hope was old enough to ask questions, Clara told her the story. About the gallows. About the cowboy who'd ridden in at the last second. About the brother and the revenge, and the long road to redemption. Hope listened with wide eyes. "Were you scared, Mama?" "Terrified," Clara admitted. "But your father saved me." "He's a hero," Clara smiled. "Yes, he is. But the real hero, she thought, was the second chance, the choice to trust, the decision to build something new from the ashes of the old. That was the real miracle. Ethan was released after 15 years for good behavior. He was older, grayer, quieter. Cole met him at the prison gates. "What now?" Ethan asked. "Now you come home," Cole said. Ethan blinked. "Home?" "The ranch, if you want. After everything I did. You paid your debt, and you're still my brother." Ethan's eyes filled with tears. "I don't deserve this." "None of us deserve the grace we're given," Cole said. "But we take it anyway." Ethan came to the ranch. He was hesitant at first, unsure of his place, but Clara welcomed him. Hope, now a bright-eyed girl of 12, was curious about her uncle. "You're the one from Mama's story," she said. Ethan nodded. "I am. Are you still bad?" "I'm trying not to be." "Good," Hope said, "because we need help with the horses." And just like that, Ethan found his place. He worked hard, kept to himself mostly, but slowly he began to heal. The ranch, the family, the routine. It gave him something he'd lost years ago. Purpose. One evening, the whole family gathered on the porch. Cole and Clara, Hope, Hank, Ethan. They watched the sunset together, the sky ablaze with color. "You ever think about that day?" Ethan asked quietly. "In redemption?" "Sometimes," Clara said. "I'm sorry for what I put you through. I know. Do you forgive me?" Clara was quiet for a moment. Then, "I'm working on it, but I think I'm getting there." Ethan nodded. "That's more than I deserve." "Maybe," Cole said, "but it's what you're getting anyway." They sat in silence, watching the sun disappear. A family forged not by blood alone, but by choices, by mercy, by the hard work of forgiveness. It wasn't a perfect ending. Life never is. But it was a good one. And sometimes that's enough. If this story touched your heart, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more incredible tales. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.